2013. Item number 2 on the agenda is business. Okay. Under 2, the first 5 items on the agenda, A through E, are all a variance request in relation to a single property. I'd like to call up Community Development to come up and give us a little background.
Joey Stobbs, Community Development Planner 1. McDonald's is working on a parking agreement with Aldi that still hasn't been resolved. We've in discussions with them would like a clear decision from Aldi which way this is going to go. So the applicant has recommended or requested that they be tabled indefinitely.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. And point of order, I'd like to back up just a minute. For the record, my name is Roy Acree. I'm the acting fire chief here in the city of Smyrna. To my right is Robin Broyles, chief building official for the city of Smyrna. To my left is Scott Stokes, the director of public works. And just in front of Scott is Samantha Casray, our deputy city clerk, taking the official minutes. So, Joe, it's our understanding that the applicant has requested on items 2A through E to table indefinitely these 5 variance requests until they can come up with other solutions.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody here to speak on behalf of items A through E under Section 2? Let the record show that there are none. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we table indefinitely variance request V13-020, public hearing, variance request, reduction of west side building setback from 35 feet to 27 feet, 1.01 acres, land lot 8472591, Spring Road, Integrity Engineering and Development.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, vote. Motion passes 3-0. Entertain a motion on item B.
Make a motion that we table indefinitely variance request V13-021, public hearing, reduction of rear building setback from 100 feet to 85 feet, 1.01 acres, land lot 8472591, Spring Road, Integrity Engineering and Development.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, vote. Motion passes 3-0. Entertain a motion on 2C.
Make a motion that we table indefinitely variance request V13-022, public hearing, parking reduction from 55 spaces to 41 spaces, 1.01 acres, land lot 8472591, Spring Road, Integrity Engineering Development.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Everybody vote, please. Motion passes 3-0. 2D.
Make a motion that we table indefinitely variance request V13-023, public hearing, landscape strip reduction from 15 feet to 7 feet along Spring Road and 10 feet to 6 feet along Cumberland Boulevard, 1.01 acres, land lot 8472591, Spring Road, Integrity Engineering Development.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Everybody vote. Motion passes unanimously. And 2E.
Make a motion that we table indefinitely variance request V13-024, public hearing, to allow an additional directional sign at Spring Road at Cumberland Boulevard driveway, 1.01 acres, land lot 8472591, Spring Road, Integrity Engineering and Development.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes 3-0. Okay, item F under business is a public hearing variance request V13-039 to allow the reduction of side setback from 10 to 8 feet for a .275 acre land lot 374 at 659 Burbank Drive. Miss Shirley Gore. Miss Gore, are you here? Okay, just a second. So also The next item, G, is about the same subject property. So if community development could come up and give us some background on these two variance requests, F and G, please.
These two items were tabled from the previous variance hearing. In the meantime, staff has visited the site along with Robin Broyles, Chief Building Inspector. We have verified the side setback of that structure. It is further away than we thought at the previous hearing. So there is the metal fence, and then the wooden fence is 3 feet away from that, and the metal fence is the property line. So the wooden fence is 3 feet from that fence, and then the structure is 5 feet from the wooden fence. So we've determined that is 8 feet from the side property line. We've also inspected the other structures in the backyard. There is a pole structure with a tarp over it. We consider a temporary structure. It is basically a tent. And then the other structure in concern was the structure that is on the deck on the right side of the house. It is what we consider substantially attached to the principal structure. The foundation of that structure is the deck. It is covering the deck. It does not have a separate foundation, and it is not separated from the deck in any way. The deck is continuous, and it just provides a roof over that portion of the deck. So we have confirmed that there are just two accessory structures, the pool and the shed type structure at the rear right of the property. And the building official has confirmed that as well. So that's all.
Okay,
We
so-
recommend approval. There has been one phone call from an adjacent property owner opposing the request, but I don't believe they are here for the hearing. We recommend approval with no conditions on both variances.
Okay, so just for the record, community development has determined that there are two accessory structures, two structures that qualify as accessory structures, one of which is allowed, and hence the second variance, item G, would be to allow for the second accessory structure. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Stobbs?
The tent, is that something that can remain, or should it be removed, or what?
It is what we consider a temporary structure. So if it is there for a prolonged period of time, then it would need to be removed. But it would have to be determined how long it's been there and how long it can stay there.
Okay, so what is the duration of a temporary structure, allowable duration?
That would be up to the city marshal. It's not a zoning type situation, so I don't know what the city marshal would consider that time period to be.
Okay.
Any other questions of Rusty? Okay, Ms. Shirley Gore, call you forward, please. And if, just for the record, if you could state your name and address in the microphone for the official minutes, please.
My name is Shirley Gore at 659 Burbank Drive, Smyrna, Georgia 30080.
Okay, Ms. Gore, I know that you're aware, but again, just for the record, you've made application for two variance requests
Right.
Due to an accessory structure that's been in the back of the property for some time.
Yes.
And I know that we talked about this 2 weeks ago, but again, for the record, for today, the second accessory structure, which is in the back, that's obviously clearly not attached to the house.
Right.
How long has that been, that structure
I would
been
think
there?
somewhere in the early 90s.
Early 90s, so, okay. So Could it be 15 to 20 years?
Oh, yeah, at least that.
That it's been there?
At least that, yeah.
Okay. And so that structure is what's caused the need for the first variance for the reduction of the rear setback. And
Right.
Since the last 2 weeks that we've met, community development has gone out and actually measured it and
Right.
determined that you didn't need as much of a variance. In fact, it's a little further away from the fence.
Right.
So that variance request has gone from 10 to 8 feet. Do you have anything else to add for the variance request for the rear setback?
No, that seems to be it.
Okay. So moving on to the second one, excuse me. The second variance request is, as previously stated, to allow for a second accessory structure. You are allowed to have one accessory structure that's not attached, and that would be the pool that's currently there.
Right.
So this second one is what spawned, or the other accessory structure is what spawned this second variance request. And 2 weeks ago and also today, we've kind of gone back and forth about what's a permanent accessory
Right.
structure and what's not an accessory, things that are attached to the house, and now what is a temporary structure. And we appreciate you giving us the time and allowing our community development to come out and take some measurements and assess those things. For the record, the tent structure that is a temporary structure, how long has it been up? Just
Well,
approximately?
In the past year or so, it covers lawnmowers. It covers, this house is only 900 square feet, okay?
Right.
There's no storage.
Right.
There's people's clothes out there in boxes. We're just trying to keep stuff dry. Now, maybe he can make it lower. I don't know if that would help. It's the only thing I can think of. Or maybe just cover it with cans. It's easier with, like this, you can roll the lawnmower underneath there. And
I agree.
And we
Yeah.
have a pressure washer.
Right.
Because my son is in business doing stuff like that, so we don't want that stuff to get wet. And as he'll state, the other room, we store stuff in the other room, but it is more, we have a pool table in it. I really wouldn't want to put a lawnmower in there. We can keep from it.
Right. And again, for the record, the accessory structure that's been there for 15 to 20 years that's in the back of the property, has anybody ever or does anybody currently live in that structure?
No.
Okay.
We let a
Okay.
couple of dogs stay in there once in a while. If it gets real cold, we put his dogs in there.
Right. If this board were to make motions on both of these to approve, and with regard to the second one, given the questions that we have about the temporary structure, and even yourself have officially stated maybe that temporary structure could be lowered.
Right.
Would you be willing to one stipulation in that the city come back out one more time and discuss ways that maybe that can happen, and just kind of do a site inspection?
Yeah, they just have to let me know because I have to make plans, run my work and stuff.
Okay.
Um,
That's all that I had for the applicant. Were there any questions from the board?
What's the accessory structure, the built one in the back corner? What do you use it for?
Well, that's why I said it started out as we stored stuff in it. Then somebody gave my son a really nice pool table. So there's a real nice pool table in there. My son likes to mess around with guitars. There's guitars. He has a dartboard. In other words, it's kind of a little play area.
Oh, so it's not a storage building. It's
I mean, we store
use.
some stuff. Yeah, right, because it started out strictly as a storage thing. Then he needed, like I say, those houses are only 900 some square feet. There's no room to put a dartboard or a pool table, or in other words, unless you're going to eat on it. And so, he just likes to go out there and mess around. And that's how it kind of started. Has a bar. I mean, actually, he's storing some of my stuff out there that after my husband passed away, I had a really nice bar, and I hated for it to get thrown away, so it's out there. There is some stuff stored. There's another, I think there's a desk-type thing out there that belonged to me. And, because I don't have any storage where I live now.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions?
Okay.
I don't have any. No.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone here that would wish that's here that would like to speak with regard to either item F or G on the agenda? Let the record show that there are none. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'd like to entertain a motion for item F.
Make a motion that we approve variance request V13-039. Variance request allow the reduction of side yard setback from 10 feet to 8 feet, 0.275 acres, land lot 374, 659 Burbank Drive.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Oh, sorry.
You may want to add the condition of.
We're going to add that in the second one.
Okay.
Yeah. This is for the side setback. That motion passes unanimously. Okay, we've already heard all the background and testimony. Item G is the same subject property variance request to allow a second accessory structure on the same land lot, 374-659 Burbank Drive, for applicant Shirley Gore. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody here that would wish to speak on this issue? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve variance request V13-040. Allows second accessory structure, 0.275 acres, land lot 374, 659 Burbank Drive, with the stipulation that the building official's office be allowed access to the property to inspect the accessory structure for building code compliance.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, thank you, Ms. Gore. Next item on the agenda is a variance request V13-043 to allow front setback reduction from 35 feet to 22 feet at a 0.16 acre land lot, 417888 Wayland Court, Peter Harrison Son, LLC. Is the applicant present? Could you step forward, please? For the record, could you state your name?
Sure. My name is Robert Harrison. My address is 2730 Morris Circle, Smyrna, Georgia. I apologize for my tardiness. It's a hazard of living on the other side of the busy train tracks.
That's no problem. You were here just in time. All right. So, you said your last name was Mr. Harris?
Harrison.
Harrison. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk to us about your variance request?
Yes, we have a house on Wayland Court, and it is currently a 3-bedroom, 1-bath home, and we are renovating the house. And according to what we've learned from the current market, people tend to look for 3-bedroom, 2-bath homes, as most of the people that we run into are young families. And so normally we would add a bathroom to the back of the house, but in this circumstance, because of the odd shape of the lot and how it tapers towards the back, that would put it right up against the fence line. There's just not enough room. And so we've determined that there's a way to add a small bathroom, approximately 7 to 7.5 feet deep, or extending out from the front of the home, that would allow for a second bathroom. And we're asking to adjust the front setback accordingly. And I'm not sure about the 22 feet. We'll have to confirm that, because all we're doing is taking the front of the home and extending out another 7 feet. So we can
and we'll
clarify
hear
that
from
real quick.
community development.
Okay, but that's all we're doing,
clarification
is extending it out 7 feet from the front of the house.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Community Development, Mr. Rusty Stobbs.
Joey Stobbs.
Joey Stobbs, I'm sorry. I tried to combine both of you two together. I like Rusty Stobbs better.
I second that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a motion second. I'm just kidding. So go ahead. Sorry, Joey.
That's okay. Regarding the variance requested 888 Wayland Court, reduction of the front setback from 35 feet to 22 feet. This is an existing single-family home. This lot is approximately 6,500 square feet. It's a very small lot. It's around a curve on Wayland Court, and the lot shape is kind of tapered to the back, as the applicant stated. So if there was going to be an addition to the house, the front is basically the only area that would allow it with the least amount of variance. It is a master bathroom, approximately 7.5 feet that will go towards the front property line and 15 feet across. According to the survey that was submitted with the variance application, the existing house is 30.2 feet from the front property line. And so then if you deduct 7.5 feet, it would be approximately 22 feet from the front. So that's how we determine that. We've reviewed the request and recommend approval. Signage has been posted, and we've received no complaints about this request. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for community development or for the applicant?
No.
Okay, thank you, Joey. This is a public hearing. If anybody's here to speak on this matter, please step forward. Let the record show that there are none. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for item H.
Make a motion that variance request V13-043, variance request, allow the front setback reduction from 35 feet to 22 feet, 0.16 acres, land lot 417888 Wayland Court be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All vote, please. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Good luck. Item I on the agenda is a variance request V13-044 to allow an increase in wall sign letter height from 36 inches to 53 inches for a 10-acre land lot 849 at 2449 Cobb Parkway for Goodwill Industries of North Georgia. Is the applicant present? Would you step forward, please? For the record, state your name.
My name's Erica. Sorry.
That's okay.
My name's Erica Bodzi from Can-Am Signs and Imaging, representing Goodwill Industries of North Georgia. B-O-D-Z-Y.
Bodsey?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Bodsey, could you talk to us a little bit about your variance request?
We're requesting a variance request to increase the letter height from 36 inches to 53 inches. Based on the fact that Goodwill is the anchor tenant in the center, they've got 157 feet of frontage compared to the rest of the tenants that have much smaller frontages. Based on the fact that they are over 200 feet from the road, there's a stipulation that they can have 15% more, but due to the 36-inch letter height cap, it caps the size of their logo because they use a stacked version, and this is across their 100 stores. It's part of their brand, and it's our job to continue and keep their brand consistent. We submitted an exhibit of a banner that we put up that is the actual size of what their sign would be, and it really just gets lost on this huge wall. A big concern is proportion in the center, the way it'll look. I've got several photos of all the other signage in the center, and everyone's sign really looks proportional to their fascia, but Goodwill's sign just gets lost on that huge fascia. The previous tenant was Office Depot. They moved in the 90s, so code was very different. The fascia of this suite is much larger than the rest of the fascias in the center. Office Depot moved next door, and they only have about 67 feet of frontage right now. And obviously their sign will actually is the same height as what Goodwill is allowed, and they're double in size. Unfortunately, the only thing that really stands in the way of them having a larger sign is that they're not 45,000 square feet. Also, I submitted an exhibit of a landlord letter from when Office Depot moved that Goodwill is not allowed to have the primary spots on the pylon signs. So on one of the pylon signs, which is the sign heading northeast that motorists and vehicles would see to turn into the center, there's very large trees in front of the Goodwill as well, and so there's a very small area of visibility. That's mostly a lot of the reasons we feel that they should be allowed to increase their letter height.
Now, I apologize because I'm about to ask you for the tenant space. So if you've already mentioned that,
The tenant space is 25,600 square feet.
25.6.
Yeah, because it's kind of rectangular. They have a very long fascia, but a very narrow store.
Gotcha.
And I have several photos as well if anyone would like to look at them.
I'm sorry.
I have lots of pictures as well of all the signage in the center, just for proportions, how you can see compared to the banner we put up just to take a picture for the variance to show what it would look like.
Okay. If you'd like to pass those
Sure.
forward, that'd be fine. Did anybody have any questions of Ms. Bodsey?
No.
Well, while we take a minute and take a look at these pictures as a board, we'll call up Community Development to give us some background.
Variance case V13044. This is 2449 Cobb Parkway. The applicant is requesting an increase in wall letter height from 36 inches to 53 inches. Our code is pretty black and white on this issue. It doesn't leave much room for deviation. The sign code allows a maximum wall sign of 325 square feet. That would be if every bonus calculation was met. The conflict here is the tenant space, which is where Office Depot previously was. They are further back from the right-of-way that would allow 325 square feet, but the applicant cannot use all of that sign area due to the maximum letter height that they're restricted to 36 inches. To achieve taller letters, the sign code requires a shopping center of 10 acres or more, which the applicant does meet that. A tenant space of 45,000 square feet or more, which this tenant space is almost half of that. And if a tenant space is 45,000 square feet or more, they're allowed to increase their letter height 3 feet for every 100 feet of store frontage. So basically, a store would have to be 200 feet wide to achieve a bonus letter height, which this tenant space is 158 feet.
It's 158-foot width and 25,600 total square feet.
Correct. So we recommend a denial of the request. We think that it would set a negative precedent as no other wall sign letter heights have been increased in the past. And we have posted sign appropriately, and we have received no comments on this from adjacent properties.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for community development?
No.
Ms. Bodsey, could you come back up, please? Before I entertain a motion, we ask that you understand that the City of Smyrna elected body over the last several years has worked diligently to create a signage policy that is consistent throughout the city, and is equally and also fair. When they formulated the revision of this, they pulled in business owners from, you know, a diverse mix of business owners throughout, and it was about a 2-year process, and even up to recently, they're you know, adamant about the adherence to the ordinance, you know, based off of all of the work that's gone into it and the need for consistency in signage, especially on, you know, areas like Cobb Parkway. So it certainly isn't the city's intent to make anybody's business more difficult. So just please understand that you know, the bigger picture that the city is taking on their sign ordinances. Anybody have any final questions?
No.
This is a public hearing. If anybody is present to speak on this variance request, please step forward. Sir, if you could step forward, please. State your name for the record.
My name is Lion Bodsey. I am the one of the owners of Can-Am Signs, who manufacture signage for Goodwill Industries of North Georgia.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Excuse my lateness. The 400 was a nightmare this morning. I have done, over the past 3 or 4 years, innumerable variances for Goodwill in various counties, cities, jurisdictions. For the most part, successfully, to prove not because we wanted larger signage or, yes, we wanted better visibility, but there was an underlying intention of presenting on most of these hardships was that Goodwill's philosophy, as you probably all know, has been one where Goodwill comes into a community and their main focus is to generate business traffic, no doubt, but their underlining theme as a nonprofit is to truly put people to work. And I don't say that lightly. In many communities, when allowed, they also put in career centers and provide retraining to mostly people in that particular community. It's been very effective over the last number of years. There are sometimes interesting third parties who do not approve of a Goodwill yet because there's a certain stigma attached to seeing a Goodwill. One of the most vociferous, if I can use the term, enemies to Goodwill's business model has been pharmacies, who for whatever reason don't like to be sharing a shopping center, at least initially, with Goodwill. As they become partners in that shopping center, they find that Goodwill is a good employer, a good community organizer. I think the same applies truly here. At the end of the day, and I heard your last comments, I agree, there is definitely a code that has to be respected, and I think the concern that we all face is if we allow one tenant in a shopping center to get an exception or a change in the current code, the concern is that it's going to escalate and everybody's going to refer back to a particular client or business and say, well, you allowed these people to have an exception to the code. In Goodwill's particular case, as we all understand, they're not only promoting their name Goodwill, which is prevalent and known, but they do promote, as part of their business, the store and where they get most of their goods and are able to employ people is from their donation facilities. Every particular store will always, and I can't think of one exemption, lady and gentlemen, that the Goodwill doesn't have a donation center. It'll be typically off on the left or the right or on the side or behind, wherever it can minimize the effect on the traffic at the front of the store, so that people who are going into the store have a direct entrance there. And of course, the donation center for some of the bigger goods that come in. You can't be receiving couches and patio furniture and other items through the front of the store. It's just not very effective. And Goodwill has gone out of their way on many occasions to build a side entrance or a back entrance whenever possible to minimize the traffic, and they're well aware of that. In this particular location, which we all know, the ability will work on that to keep the donation side so we don't create a lot of front entrance traffic. But equally true on the signage portion, we've been out there, we've done what we call a flag test. I'm sure Erica has clarified what we did with the banner on a temporary basis to get some visibility. And the name or the tagline, Store and Donation Center, is very, very small and almost invisible, which is not going to draw traffic for whatever reasons. So in reality, we never really come to these variance hearings with the thought that we're looking to believe bigger is better. We're just trying to image effectively the frontage of the building. We know the history of the former Office Depot and grandfathering and changes and all of these things. We live with this every day. We cautioned Goodwill before we came to this variance hearing that our hardship, we found it was valid, but historically I've presented in front of your committee over my last 12 or 15 years, at least 2 other times unsuccessfully. So I was very hesitant in coming here today or our company presenting. But we did because we felt in this particular case we really had the best interests of the community at heart, the best interest of Goodwill, the best interests of the residents of this particular community, and we felt that we were not asking for an excessive amount of additional signage. We'd like to respect Goodwill's typical identity, like we recognize Shell or any major client. And Goodwill typically has that store and donation center tagline underneath, following the current code, just the specifics that we're forced currently to respect, which we will. We just felt that in this particular case that this was a viable solution to give them at least some presence. They are set back far from the street. The landlord owner had made previous commitments to Office Depot. I don't blame them. They took a lot of space until they signed a deal with Goodwill. We really don't have street visibility. If we had great street visibility, we could live with small signage. So all factors being entertained from our perspective, we feel that Erica's presentation and your review of it would indicate that in this particular case, we're not really asking for an exception in our minds. Obviously, you feel we are. It's a variance. We just feel that we're trying to give a little visibility to the center, keep traffic and circulation moving, that the decel lanes and the acceleration lanes aren't being impacted negatively, and giving traffic more time to see the Goodwill store, which will generate traffic. It will. We've seen it in many other smaller communities, even like in Athens, Georgia, where it's really been a boom to that particular demographic and area. So in closing, I just wanted to bring to your attention that these are extenuating circumstances, and we feel that under your advisement that we're not trying to be aggressive with our request for some additional signage. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Is there anybody else here that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for item I.
Make a motion to deny variance request V13-044, variance request, allow the increase in wall signage height from 36 inches to 53 inches, 10-acre tract, land lot 849-2449, Cobb Parkway, Goodwill Industries of North Georgia.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All vote, please. Motion passes unanimously to deny. I will say to the applicants that you do have a right of appeal to the mayor and council. Sam, could you help me? The appeal has to be submitted in writing within 10 business days. Is that correct? Yes, to the office of the city clerk, 10 business days. So you do have that right of appeal, and we appreciate your comments. Thank you. Item J is a public hearing for privilege license request, license 13-025 for beer, wine, liquor pouring at 160 Legion Drive, American Legion Post 160, with Harold E. Watkins as the agent. Is the applicant present? Could you step forward and state your name for the record, please?
My name is Harold E. Watkins. I'm the commander of American Legion Post 160 in Smyrna.
All right. So your application is to be the agent for the American Legion Post 160.
That is true.
That correct?
The previous license was under Charles Barrett, and Charles Barrett passed 2 months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes. We just have to have someone that's on the board to hold the
Absolutely.
license.
Okay. Can you talk to the board about the things that you've done to prepare yourself to become the agent for this beer, wine, liquor pouring for your facility?
Yes, sir. I've taken the course on the alcohol, and I've read up on it. I've got a plan for the post to adhere to all the rules and regs of for the alcohol.
Okay, and I do see in our record, the proof that you've received the proper certifications. Can you talk to the board a little bit about, you mentioned how your facility has and is going to continue to serve alcohol. Can you talk to us about some of the processes you might have in place to ensure that, obviously, our concern and with every facility that serves alcohol is the responsible serving, and that typically equates to not serving to minors. Can you talk to us about some practices you might have in place?
The American Legion is a private club. We do allow visitors in. We do have rules and regs on serving. We do allow minors in until 9 o'clock, but during that time, all my waitresses, all the bartenders, they card the members as they come in for membership. They also card when they serve. When someone asks to be served, they're also carded for their age.
So typically, would it be true that the people who are responsible for the actual serving, you mentioned they're waitresses and bartenders, is that right?
Yes, I have at least one bartender, a bar manager, and on weekends when it is busy, I have 2 bartenders and usually 2 servers.
And all of those people have server permits?
Yes.
I'm assuming. Okay. Are you aware, or have you been made aware that this City of Smyrna Police Department can and does do undercover stings
Yes.
to all facilities and
Yes, sir.
and violators? The person that actually serves to a minor is arrested on site.
Yes, sir.
And the subject privileged license to pour beer, wine, and liquor could be subject to negative things
Yes,
to
sir.
the board, up
Absolutely.
to permanent removal.
The American Legion's been in Smyrna since 1946. I believe they've been a good neighbor and an asset to the city of Smyrna.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Watkins?
No.
Are you on site daily?
Yes, sir.
What are the typical hours of serving at the American Legion?
Basically, we open at 12:30. We're 7 days a week. We have a Sunday pouring license also. We don't open per se to guests until 6 o'clock. We do serve food at the post also. So we have key access swipe cards to get into the post. You can be rang in, but as soon as you come in, you either sign in and you show your membership or whoever's with you. You're supposed to have someone that is a member sponsoring you to be in the club itself.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Watkins.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is there anybody here that'd like to speak on this issue? Let the record show that there are none. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for item J.
Make a motion that we approve the license LIC 2013-25 public hearing privilege license request. Again, LIC 13-025 beer, wine, liquor pouring, 160 Legion Drive, American Legion Post 160, to Harold E. Watkins as agent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All members vote, please. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Watkins. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing regulated license request, LIC 2013-26 for Pawn Shop, 2175 Old Concord Road, Georgia Cash America, Inc., DBA Pawn Mart number 34, with Kevin James Maud as agent. Is the applicant present? You step forward, please, and please state your name for the record.
Kevin James Maud.
Mr. Maud, we appreciate you coming in. Again, very similar to the last one that we just heard. This is just a change of agent for the license. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Can you talk to us a little bit about your business and the reason for the change of agent?
Yeah, local pawn shop, 2175 Old Concord. Been there several years. Cash America has come in and purchased all of our pawn marts within the Atlanta area and North Carolina area. And also, we're open 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 to 6 or 9 to 7, and then Saturdays 9 to 6. And we're just in that particular location, we're a pawn shop. We do no arms or ammunition or anything like that. It's just regular jewelry and be good items. We call them lawnmowers, things like that.
Okay, so are you here to represent the new corporation that has purchased all these?
Yeah, I'm here as an agent just for the because I'm actually the manager of that store in Smyrna.
Okay, and is that a new position for you, or have you been there for a while?
3 years. I've
Okay.
been, yes.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the board?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mott.
Thank you, sir.
This is a public hearing, If anyone's present to speak on this matter, I'd like to ask you to come forward. Jim Cox.
Jim Cox, Business License Officer. Just to clarify, this is a change of ownership and agent, where you mentioned just agent earlier.
Okay.
Mr. Mauld mentioned that, but just for the record.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Change of ownership as well as agent. Okay, so seeing no public comment, I will entertain a motion for item K.
Make a motion that we approve license number LIC 2013-26, public hearing regulated license request, Pawn Shop 2175, Old Concord Road, Georgia Cash America Incorporated, doing business as Pawn Mart number 34, change of ownership and agent with Kevin James Maud as agent.
Second.
Have a motion to second it. Everybody vote, please. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Mott. The last item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the License and Variance Board meeting from October the 19th of 2013. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes for License and Variance Board meeting of 10/9 of 13. Make that form of motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All vote. Motion passes unanimously, and with that, we adjourn. At 10:52.